time in 5 years.
Tommy, one more thing.
Tommy, little dog, run!
More good intelligence about more people out there.
That's Mexico right there. Right there, 20 feet away.
I was being trafficked and had no idea there was a word for it.
Change fast.
Are you a member of ISIS?
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ollie. Delightful nutrition to keep you happy from the inside out. Closed captioning brought to you by Ollie.
Well, President Trump and the First Lady visited a hospital in Broward County, Florida last night, where many victims of Wednesday's high school shooting are being treated. They also dropped by the sheriff's office to praise the law enforcement officials who responded to the incident.
CNN correspondent Diane Gallagher is in Deerfield Beach, Florida there. Diane, good morning to you. And how are those victims who are still in the hospitals?
Victor, Renee, the good news is that we've seen improvements and discharges every day since the shooting of those who've been wounded. There are currently 6 patients still in the hospital, 3 of them here at Broward North. One does remain in critical condition, but the president and first lady chose to come to Broward North because this is where the majority of the patients were brought to begin with. This is a trauma center. They acted quickly, and that's something that the president commented on when speaking to the doctors and first responders about just how quickly that response time was. I talked to some of those doctors the day before, and they said about 15 minutes is the heads up that they got. They went into that code green. The president and first lady visited with one of the patients here, Maddie Wilford. She's an 18-year-old. She's a basketball player at Stoneman Douglas. She was shot multiple times, and you can see the pictures that were posted by a social media manager there, Dan Scavino. Lots of pictures with his family smiling. This was good news to a lot of people in this community, seeing Maddie there, at least smiling and seeing her face since the shooting happened. The president and first lady also visited with a male patient while they were here at Broward North. They spent about 20 minutes total at the hospital before going to the sheriff's office and congratulating those first responders on the way that they handled the situation and how quickly they were able to do so. Victor, Renee.
And of course, our thoughts are with those students who remain in the hospital this morning. Diane Gallagher live for us this morning. Thank you.
Now, I spoke with a group of students from Stoneman Douglas High School and listened to their stories about what they saw on Wednesday and how they feel about it now. And they talked about the shock and the anger, numbness. But one thing they feel is fear. Fear that their school is no longer safe. Here's part of our conversation.
It's a slew of emotions. And one of the most daunting things is that they all kind of neutralize each other to the point where I feel desensitized.
You asked us how we're feeling, but I feel like a better question is what we're not feeling. I catch myself almost being mad at myself for not feeling more. I feel almost numb.
There's been a lot of survivor guilt. There have been a lot of people saying, why wasn't it me?
We can't take life for granted anymore because every single day you just don't know what's going to happen, and we don't feel secure and safe in our own school, like a place we called home.
The only thing that separates us from them is just luck. They're freshmen, they're little girls that didn't come home because of what happened.
I had so many friends in the school that I wasn't in the room with that I wanted to make sure were safe, and it was hard to reach everyone. It was just such a scary feeling of helplessness.
Let me ask about the category now that this echelon that your school is in, unfortunately. I can say Pulse nightclub, and you all know what I'm talking about. Sandy Hook, Virginia Tech. I can now say Stoneman Douglas. What does that feel like now?
When we were in that closet all together, I was just thinking, we're going to be that school. We're going to be the ones that everyone talks about. We're going to be the school that got shot up.
With this title, now that everyone knows the name of the school, we can use that and use it to make change.
The only way we could do that is by being unapologetic and not by sugarcoating it.
Have you prepared yourself for what it will be like to walk back into that building?
I had a class with one of the girls that passed away, unfortunately. I don't know how I'm going to step foot back in that class.
I'm excited to go back to school. It's going to be hard. I have a class in the building where everything happened, but I want to be with everybody, and everybody's been so strong together, and I want to see everybody. If we didn't have the leadership at our school that we did, there's a very good chance that this could be abysmal, more so than it already is.
How can you not be scared after something like that happens? People I know, people I pass in the hall every day, just gone, and yeah, I'm scared.
More so than it already is.
The eloquence from these students so soon after this tragedy is remarkable. Now, we talked about gun control. We talked about the issues of mental health, their message for the president, for the governor, for Senator Rubio, and for those who say this is not the time to talk about these issues. You're going to hear more of our conversation with the students there from Stoneman Douglas High School later on in the show.
And so insightful, really good interview. And it's just so clear that even once those students are laid to rest, the problems are just going to continue for these students emotionally as well. And coming up after, in just a moment, after a top aide is forced to resign over domestic abuse allegations, Chief of Staff John Kelly is overhauling security clearance procedures. But will the changes work?
Brushing only reaches 25% of your mouth. Listerine cleans virtually 100%, helping to prevent gum disease and bad breath. Never settle for 25%. Always go for 100. Bring out the bold.
We've been preparing for this day. Over the years, Paul and I have met regularly with our Ameriprise advisor. We plan for everything from retirement to college savings, giving us the ability to add on for an important member of our family. Welcome home, Mom. With the right financial advisor, life can be brilliant.
As long as there is fear, as long as there is curiosity, as long as there are undiscovered corners of the earth, and as long as there is willingness and desire, then you are capable of more. This President's Day. Some 2018 BMW X3 xDrive 30i for $499 per month.
Gas, bloating, constipation, and diarrhea can start in the colon and may be signs of an imbalance of good bacteria. Only Philips Colon Health has this unique combination of probiotics. It provides 4-in-1 symptom defense. It's your daily probiotic.
Heather is trying to learn French online. I drink goat milk at the library. Janice is succeeding with Babbel. With 14 languages, Babbel gets you conversational fast for real-life situations. You'll be speaking with confidence in no time.
Deux croissants, s'il vous plaît.
D'accord. And for you? The octopus wants to date me. Babbel, start your conversations. Download the app or go to babbel.com and try it for free today.
Psoriatic arthritis tries to get in my way? Watch me.
I've tried lots of things for my joint pain. Now, watch me.
Think I'd give up showing these guys how it's done? Please.
Real people with active psoriatic arthritis are changing the way they fight it. They're moving forward with Cosentyx. It's a different kind of targeted biologic. It's proven to help people find less joint pain and clearer skin. Don't use if you are allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting Cosentyx, you should be checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms of an infection, or if you have received a vaccine or plan to. If you have inflammatory bowel disease, tell your doctor if symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions may occur.
With less joint pain, watch me.
For less joint pain and clearer skin, ask your rheumatologist about Cosentyx.
I no longer live with the uncertainties of Hep C. Wondering, what if? I let go of all those feelings because I am cured with Harvoni.
Harvoni is a revolutionary treatment for the most common type of chronic hepatitis C. It's been prescribed to more than 250,000 people and is proven to cure up to 99% of patients who've had no prior treatment with 12 weeks. Certain patients can be cured with just 8 weeks of Harvoni. Before starting Harvoni, your doctor will test to see if you've ever had hepatitis B, which may flare up and cause serious liver problems during and after Harvoni treatment. Tell your doctor if you've ever had hepatitis B, a liver transplant, other liver or kidney problems, HIV, or any other medical conditions, and about all the medicines you take, including herbal supplements. Taking amiodarone with Harvoni can cause a serious slowing of your heart rate. Common side effects of Harvoni include tiredness, headache, and weakness.
Ready to let go of Hep C?
Ask your Hep C specialist about Harvoni.
Your friend orders a Friday sirloin steak and big ribs. You one up him with the steak, but add a steak. Figuring steak and steak trumps ribs and steak. But does it?
2 meats, 2 sides, $14.99. Get it here or get it to go.
Well, the security clearance process for top officials is now getting an overhaul.
Right. White House Chief of Staff John Kelly is ordering the changes after mishandling allegations of domestic abuse by senior aide Rob Porter. Among the changes outlined in a 5-page memo, background checks should go straight from the FBI to the White House counsel's office, and the FBI should share any derogatory information with the White House within 48 hours of uncovering this. So will this all work? Joining me now, Tom Fuentes, CNN senior law enforcement analyst and former assistant FBI director, and Michael Moore, former U.S. attorney for Middle District of Georgia. I guess the first question goes to you, Tom. I mean, he's making this announcement. I mean, do you get any indication based on these changes and the changes outlined in the memo that this really would have made a difference prior to all of this, prior to the revelations concerning Rob Porter?
Well, the White House was definitely notified on at least 3 occasions by the FBI of the status of their investigation on Porter. So the statements by Ray when he testified were that, you know, in March they issued the first interim report. This would have been after they received derogatory information from the ex-wives. Then in July, what would then be the completed report, but it would just be, you know, more things that might not have been included in the March summary. And then again in November, as new things came up, they added to it. So the idea is controlled actually government-wide by a system of security officials on how these clearances go. The White House controls who they're going to issue the security clearance to based on this government-wide set of rules. The FBI's part of this is just to give them the results of the information, and then they decide whether to issue or not to issue a clearance and how long it takes them to figure it out.
Michael, you'll remember that as this Rob Porter scandal was unfolding, John Kelly said that everything was done right. This is clearly an admission that it indeed was not. I want to read you one portion of this 5-page memo from Kelly, that all background investigations of potential commissioned officers should be flagged for the FBI at the outset and then hand-delivered to the White House counsel personally upon completion. This is the most important part here of this passage. The FBI official who delivers these files should verbally brief the White House counsel on any information in those files they deem to be significantly derogatory. If memory serves me, that's exactly what acting AG Sally Yates did in the case of General Flynn, and the White House still didn't do anything about it.
No, I think that's true, and I think he's just setting out a memo that looks to pass the buck down the road in case they have another snafu like this. You can have all the memos and all the policies and all the regulations that you want to have, but if you don't have a chief of staff or a president or an administration that has the fortitude and the strength to make decisions on those things, then they don't matter. The background process is a long and tedious process. It's uncomfortable for the people who go through it oftentimes. And this information that comes out is something that would have been known relatively early on, as we now know. And so this was a case, I think.
Businessman, his could be ongoing. There could be additional financial leads coming from banks and other institutions around the world that it does take time to get that kind of information, but
is
we
this
don't know.
timeline normal of more than a year?
For someone that's an international businessman or has traveled all around the world and would have contacts everywhere, it could be. It could take many months up to a year, yes.
Michael, out to you. Does this, from your perspective, end the Rob Porter scandal? I mean, the White House knew, John Kelly, Don McGahn knew that they had a man working in the White House who was credibly accused of domestic abuse. Put aside the moral question, the national security challenges. It's, as you said, easy to put out a memo, but there has been no overhaul of accountability.
I used to think, Victor, that, you know, when somebody stood up on behalf of the administration and told an outright untruth, that was probably the end of their time in the White House. I'm not convinced of that anymore after this last year. So it seems to me that there should be some head to roll at least over this. But as I say, I mean, this is a pretty clear case where it seems they knew that Mr. Porter had problems. They just didn't want to act or failed to act. And I think so ultimately somebody is responsible for that. I can tell you, having had an office full of people with security clearances, that if I'd seen this is the kind of thing that would have taken about a day to resolve, and we would have been helping the gentleman pack up his office and look for the exit door. So this wasn't a tough decision based on the allegations in my mind. He wouldn't have qualified to be a postal carrier in Ludowici, Georgia, based on that.
All right, where in Georgia?
Down in Ludowici, Georgia. That's Georgia. It, right. And nothing against my friends in Ludowici, but this is a pretty clear case. You wouldn't want the man who's sitting right outside the president, hand him all the secret documents, having this kind of stuff on his background check.
Well, I've never been to that post office, but as I'm passing through next time, I certainly will stop. Michael Moore, Tom Fuentes, thank you both.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, well, despite it still being very cold at the Winter Olympics, the competition is certainly heating up after a full week. Our Coy Wire is there in the heart of it all. Coy, how are the Americans doing?
Good morning, Renee. Good morning, Victor. Coming up, not one, but two American Olympians, both favored for gold here in Pyeongchang, each with results almost no one saw coming. We'll tell you who, what, and how. Coming up right here on New Day.
We use Angie's List because we can always find great local pros
for any type of home project.
I use Angie's List because it's free.
Free to read reviews.
Check their ratings.
They can even match my project to qualified pros.
Go to angieslist.com today.
Turning in the grain again, the bells began to chime.
You can pass down a Subaru Forester, but you get to keep the memories.
Love. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
Get 0% APR financing on all new 2018 Subaru Forester models now through February 28th.
ADT now helps protect your family at home and on the go. Introducing new ADT Go, the family mobile safety app and service. Get connective features like family member locator, check-ins, private messaging, safe driver reports, and SOS button with our award-winning 24/7 monitoring that makes ADT the most trusted security company. Get started now with ADT's best offer, an ADT starter kit installed free, including a security panel, keypad, key fob, entry and motion sensors. And for a limited time, get a security camera at no additional cost, a $449 savings. Plus, control your ADT security system and smart home features like locks, lights, and security cameras from the ADT Pulse app. And now, get ADT Go for free with any ADT security system. Don't miss out on ADT's best offer, a $449 savings. ADT, always there, now everywhere.
Say hello to Pretox, a whole new concept in skin defense. New absolutely ageless Pretox Day Mask from Aveeno. Its formula with an antioxidant complex fights pollution and keeps skin looking younger longer. Aveeno.
The closer you get to home, the more you know the commute is worth it. For all the work you pour into this place, you sure get a lot more out of it. You and that John Deere tractor, so versatile, you can keep dreaming up projects all the way home. It's a longer drive, but just like a John Deere, it's worth it. Nothing runs like a Deere. Now you can own a 1E subcompact tractor for just $99 a month. Learn more at your John Deere dealer.
This is an apple. And this is an apple. And this is an apple. And when you put them all together, you've got a case.
You know it, and they don't. They snore like a freight train. And the snoring stops here. Theravent Advanced Nightly Snore Therapy is clinically shown to reduce snoring.
Thanks to Theravent, my wife finally gets a good night's sleep.
Theravent is now available in light, regular, and maximum strength. Rediscover quiet nights with the all-new Theravent Trial Pack. Now available in your CVS pharmacy and select Walgreens. Start tonight.
If you're a small business owner, now there's a fast and secure way to qualify for a low-cost SBA loan right online. We're SmartBiz Loans, rated best place to apply online for an SBA loan. We'll help you pre-qualify for up to $350,000 of working capital, or even up to $5 million to buy your building.
We have a 10-year loan. Our repayment is only $1,600 a month.
Now with the SBA loan, we're only paying 6%, and I can afford that.
Apply now at smartbizloans.com. SBA loans made easy.
American Dynasties, The Kennedys, premieres Sunday, March 11th at 9 on CNN.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.com.
Mesothelioma, it's all we do. With 7 offices across the country, let us come meet with you. Call us at 1-800-213-8000.
Week 1 done, and some of the biggest names in the Olympic Games representing the United States were in action earlier, including Lindsey Vonn and Nathan Chen.
And that's where we find our very own Coy Wire. Coy, you were at the men's figure skating competition where Nathan Chen was very impressive but missed out on a medal. So what happened?
It was a surreal, unreal scene there, Renee. But Victor, good morning to you. This was a shining example of a fierce human spirit, getting knocked down but refusing to stay down from 18-year-old Nathan Chen, the only undefeated figure skater in the world coming into this season, but he fell in his first 2 competitions in Pyeongchang. The weight of the world on his shoulders heading into that final portion of the program. And many saying he was crumbling under pressure, but Chen said he wanted redemption, and he got it. He tuned out all the noise. He hit 6 quad jumps. That's a first in Olympic history. 4 rotations each. He captured a catapult from 17th place to finish 5th. Now, I witnessed a surreal scene after Japanese legend Yuzuru Hanyu defended his Olympic figure skating gold. Fans wearing their Winnie the Pooh outfits, crying, young and old, storming to throw stuffed Pooh Bears onto the ice. They're Hanyu's favorite. He bedazzles with his performances. Some call him the Michael Jackson on ice, a figure of inspiration for his fans ever since that devastating tsunami of 2011, and the nation was reeling after that. But 8 mounds of those stuffed Pooh Bears were gathered after his win. Yuzuru, by the way, donates all of those to local charities in the towns in which he performs. We'll have more coming up for you later throughout the morning about what else happened here in Pyeongchang. A lot of exciting stuff, Victor and Renee.
All right, Coy, thank you so much. The next hour of Your New Day starts after a quick break.
Aiming for Gold is brought to you by Gillette Venus and by the all-new Chevy Traverse.
I'm your Venus.
She's got it. The smoother the skin, the more comfortable you are in it. And now there's a new way to smooth. Introducing new Venus Platinum, a premium metal-handled boost control, so you can reveal up to 100% smooth skin. Venus.
Hello. Hi. How's it going?
All right, how you doing?
Welcome. So, this is the all-new Chevy Traverse. What do you think?
This looks better than 99% of the SUVs out there.
It's very modern, sleek.
Maybe the most impressive part of the all-new Traverse is what's on the inside.
What are you doing here? Oh, I missed you guys. I haven't seen you guys in so long. What's happening?
We flew her out. It's a family car. We had to put your family in it.
Yeah, it gets 7 thumbs up.
Life happens everywhere. Like it never even happened, only happens here. The cleanup and restoration specialists at 1-800-SERVPRO and servpro.com.
Your friend orders a Friday sirloin steak and big ribs. You want to up him with the steak, but add a steak. Figuring steak and steak trumps ribs and steak. But does it?
2 meats, 2 sides, $14.99. Get it here or get it to go.
COPD makes it hard to breathe.
So to breathe better, I go with a Noro.
COPD tries to say go this way. I say I'll go my own way with a Noro.
Once daily Anoro contains 2 medicines called bronchodilators that work together to significantly improve lung function all day and all night. Anoro is not for asthma. It contains a type of medicine that increases risk of death in people with asthma. The risk is unknown in COPD. Anoro won't replace rescue inhalers for sudden symptoms and should not be used more than once a day. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition, high blood pressure, glaucoma, prostate, bladder, or urinary problems. These may worsen with Anoro. Call your doctor if you have worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain while taking Anoro.
Ask your doctor about a Noro.
Get your first prescription free at Anoro.com.
Hey man, can I get a pound of the flank, a pound of the ground sirloin, and a ribeye?
Hey, I thought you were vegan.
Yeah, I'm paleo now. Oh, I'm flexible. And give me just some of that, surprise me.
He is a provider and a punisher, a sinner and a healer. He serves everyone, but answers to only one.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
What if you could lose fat in just a few hours?
I don't know what to say. I'm just in shock.
You can with Sono Bello.
It seems no matter how much you work out or diet, there are parts of your body that just don't seem to change.
I went to the gym, I worked out at home, I bought videos. No matter what I did, that bulge was still there.
With its advanced micro-laser technology,
Sono Bello gently removes that targeted fat and shapes your body for life-changing results.
as America's #1 cosmetic surgery specialist, Sono Bello has performed over 100,000 personalized body and facial procedures, helping tens of thousands of people change their lives.
After 5 years trying to get rid of that roll of fat, Sono Bello did it in one day.
Call for your free no-obligation consultation today and get $250 off your Sono Bello body.
Payment plans are available.
Call 888-470-4969 or go to sonobello.com.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
The Russia story is a total fabrication.
This Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story.
The entire thing has been a witch hunt.
13 Russians indicted by special counsel Robert Mueller for meddling in the 2016 presidential election.
The Russians also recruited and paid real Americans.
Goal here was simple: damage Hillary Clinton and elect Donald Trump.
We truly regret any additional pain that this has caused. The FBI has determined that protocol was not followed.
In this situation, the system clearly failed us.
What a job you've done, and the doctors did a great job over the...
I sent her to school yesterday. She was supposed to be safe.
I don't really care what people who defend the Second Amendment have to say. Their arguments are invalid unless they've experienced this.
Good Saturday morning to you. I'm Victor Blackwell.
And I'm Renee Marsh, in for Christy Paul. President Trump spent more than a year calling it a hoax, a witch hunt, and a total scam. But now special counsel Robert Mueller has indicted 13 Russians for interfering in the 2016 election.
In the documents, the Department of Justice claims that Russians efforted involving unwitting Americans, including Trump campaign associates. But the president says that these charges have vindicated him in the Russia investigation. Now, our other top story, the stunning admission from the FBI. The Bureau says it failed to act on a tip about the Florida school shooter, and now some are asking, could that tip have prevented the massacre that killed 17 students and teachers? We'll have more on the latest developments from Florida in a moment.
But we start with new charges, allegations, and denials in the Russian investigation. CNN's Matthew Chance is live in Moscow. But first, CNN White House correspondent Abby Phillips. Abby, you're here with us live. Talk to us a little bit about the indictment and what is the White House's reaction to the indictments.
Good morning. Well, 13 indictments against Russian nationals makes it all but equivocal that Russia
interfered with the 2016 election, and they did so with the purpose of sowing discord in the election. They also made it a goal to boost Donald Trump and hurt Hillary Clinton, a claim that the president has viewed as a threat to the legitimacy of his election. Now, President Trump has talked about this investigation as a hoax, as a witch hunt, as a phony excuse by Democrats for their loss of the election. He's called it terrible and a total scam. But the indictments make it clear that this was all too real. And President Trump, in the wake of these indictments, responded yesterday on social media. Here's what he said. He said, Russia started their anti-U.S. campaign in 2014, long before I announced I would run for president. The results of the election were not impacted. The Trump campaign did nothing wrong, no collusion. Now, that is partly true. The Russians did, in fact, start this effort in 2014, but the indictments also make it clear that there was an effort underway to work actively in the 2016 election to expose some of the rifts that were already there. And Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, when he announced this yesterday, also made it clear that while there was no evidence in these indictments that there was any effect on the election outcome, it doesn't impact anything that could be coming later on from the special counsel Robert Mueller, who is clearly still working on this investigation, still pushing forward. It's also notable that President Trump in the past months has talked about working with Russia to prevent Russian interference in the election, even though the intelligence community has made it very clear that Vladimir Putin likely directed this attack on the U.S. elections.
Yeah, that cybersecurity unit was going to put together with the Russians that minutes later he said, well, I didn't really suggest that we should do it. That becomes quite questionable now. Abby, thanks so much. All right, let's go now to CNN senior international correspondent Matthew Chance in Moscow.
All right, so Matthew...
Hi, yeah, that's right. I mean, just what Abby... sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about this Internet Research Agency that is mentioned in this indictment. I mean, it is so sophisticated.
Hello, and welcome once again
that
to
they
Rewind.
had set up here.
I'm Kamal Santamaria. We launched Al Jazeera English back in 2006.
It's a sophisticated
and more
operation.
Than a decade
and, you know, when you look at the detail that's been included in this latest indictment about
Rewind,
what the Internet Research Agency did, this is the Kremlin troll factory,
today,
as it's been popularly called.
Nuclear war is once more on the table.
Absolutely incredible. It basically sets out what Russian meddling in the US political system actually looked like and the actual things they did in order to try and influence the outcome and the political debate in the United States. They posted political messages on social websites, actually posing as American citizens. So you've got paid Russian bloggers sitting at their computers in St. Petersburg, the Russian city there, and pretending to be Americans and sort of inserting themselves into blogs to try and skew the debate from one side to the other, usually away from Hillary Clinton towards the Republican candidate at the time, of course, Donald Trump. Thousands of dollars, the indictment says, was spent on buying political advertising through social media platforms like Facebook and others as well. And I think this is really important. They used these platforms to organize political rallies in the United States with the express purpose of sowing sort of social and political discord. Take a look.
In May 2016, a small group of anti-Islamic protesters gathered outside a Muslim community centre in the US city of Houston. Across the street, a counter-rally formed, and the two sides hurled abuse in a stark illustration of American division and discord. The organisers were thousands of miles away in St. Petersburg, Russia, working for a secretive organisation which, according to a recent US indictment, had a strategic goal to sow discord in the US political system. Its name, the Internet Research Agency, dubbed the Kremlin troll factory by former employees who smuggled out these rare cell phone images. In 2016, CNN spoke to a Russian journalist who went undercover as an internet troll there.
The US elections are the key issue for the Kremlin, and of course Russia has invested a lot of effort into them. That's why the troll factories are working, I have no doubt.
It was during the Russian-backed rebellion in Ukraine in 2014 that evidence first emerged of pro-Kremlin troll factories filled with bloggers paid to spread false information online about the conflict. And this is the Russian oligarch who, according to the US indictment, bankrolled the troll factory operation. Yevgeny Prigozhin, known as Putin's chef because one of his companies provides catering services to the Kremlin, has denied any guilt. Americans are very impressionable people, he told Russian state media. They see what they want to see. I have great respect for them. I'm not at all upset that I'm on this list. If they want to see the devil, let them see one. But it is the devilish work of Russia's internet trolls and the social divisions they have incited that the US has now moved firmly against.
Well, the Russian officials that have commented on this have so far gone back to their traditional position, which is to reject any allegations as absurd of Russian meddling in the US political system. The most recent comment coming in the past few minutes from the Russian Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov, saying, if you excuse my phrase, all of this is just blather. Back to you.
All right, Matthew Chance for us in Moscow. Matthew, thank you.
And some experts believe that the indictments of the 13 Russians are almost a preview of things to come. Take a listen.
I think there are other shoes to drop here, notably the finances. Bob Mueller and his team know a lot more about all this than is out there that we know, and I think there's much more to come. I didn't see any announcement about closing down the investigation after this indictment.
All right, let's bring back Abby Phillips, CNN White House correspondent with us. Juliette Kayyem, CNN National Security Analyst and former Assistant Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security. And Michael Moore still with us, former U.S. Attorney, Middle District of Georgia. Juliette, I want to start with you and your thoughts on what we heard there from General Clapper.
I think he's exactly right. You know, remember, Mueller has been spending a lot of time on various theories of the case. One is, what did Russia in fact do, which was, we got some sense of that from the indictments yesterday, but then there's this whole financial piece, right, which is where was money, who was it flowing to, and why did the Russians so badly want Trump to win, and why was Trump willing to ask the Russians to help him to win? We can't forget that the Trump campaign was spending a lot of time essentially urging a lot of this behavior. And so I think we're only seeing a piece of it. But one of the reasons why we should remember that these indictments came out was because there's a lot of hints in them, right? So there's various people who might be implicated in this conspiracy who are U.S. citizens or related to the Trump campaign. But also, we have an election coming up. And one of the benefits of putting these indictments out is we know we're not going to arrest anyone in these indictments. They're in Russia. But to sort of name and shame, expose Russia for what they did in hopes that that disrupts their sources and methods in 2018, because as we know, the Trump White House has
to the agents who could have possibly followed up.
On behalf of myself and over 1,000 employees of the Miami field office, we truly regret any additional pain that this has caused.
The Attorney General now demanding an investigation. It is just one more warning sign missed on the path the confessed killer was taking that led him to the
produces and talks about the evidence that is necessary to charge these defendants with the crimes and in fact to prove their guilt for violations of federal law. So I don't think this tells us anything, and I think that for there to be any reliance by the Trump administration, by the president himself especially, that somehow this vindicates him, we've heard that story before. But remember, we're not talking about Manafort here. We hadn't talked about Gates. I mean, there are all these things out there, Mike Flynn. other tenets and tentacles of this investigation that we have not gotten to. The key is we need to follow the money, follow the money, follow the money. I think at some point we'll find out that we look back and see that there was a reason that Russia wanted to have Trump elected president. I think that's one of the reasons we don't have his tax returns. He's been holding those very tightly. And I think that Clapper is right, probably that Mueller already has that information and knows that there's a money trail that leads back from Russia to some folks very high up in the Trump administration.
Abby, Juliet mentioned the sanctions that were voted on by members of Congress nearly unanimously. I mean, I think 1% of members of Congress voted against these sanctions. The president signed them into law still last month. They announced that they would not be implementing them immediately. Does this in any way force or push the White House's hand to implement those sanctions? And do you expect that we'll hear, I guess, more urgency from members of Congress to encourage the president to implement them?
It certainly increases the pressure on the president and on the White House, but I think this Trump administration believes that they have a parallel diplomatic goal here on Russia. They want to pursue a different strategy. They want to broker a better relationship, and they want to hold off on sanctions for as long as possible. I don't necessarily foresee that changing. What I do see changing is more of an active effort by people pretty high up in the administration, perhaps starting with Mike Pence and liaising with other aspects of the administration, in the intelligence community, the Attorney General, to actually work with states to prevent this from happening in the midterms. I think there is a recognition that this is real now, and they have more backing to do that. I think the president will be hard-pressed to come out publicly once again calling the underlying claim that Russia interfered with the election, or that they plan to, a hoax in the future. It'll just be virtually impossible for him to do that now.
Juliet, really quickly to you, obviously the U.S. can't bring these 13 individuals here for them to face trial. Talk to me a little bit about the value of putting out this indictment for Mueller, considering that.
Oh, absolutely. So as I said, so one of the values is, of course, the naming and shaming. The extent to which Mueller was able to figure out what happened is shocking from a sources and methods perspective. So people in the Kremlin are not happy today that all of this has been exposed. And then the second, of course, is there are throughout the indictments references to a firm in Texas, to other potential links that would draw in a larger conspiracy here in the United States. So what does that mean? It means is if you were conspiring with these people, you might be thinking about coming forward now or not protecting people, say, in the White House or the Trump campaign. So Mueller is showing his hand a little bit. There's a third piece quickly, which is Facebook and Twitter to a lesser extent. The extent to which Facebook is all over these indictments as a sort of either passive or, unhelpful forum is really key. I think it's going to begin a discussion about Facebook's obligations and responsibility in 2016.
Right. Juliet, Michael, Abby, thank you so much.
That's right.
President Trump and the First Lady visited victims of the Florida school shooting. The president shared these photos of their time at Broward North Hospital yesterday, where several of the survivors are recovering now. The Trumps also visited the nearby Sheriff's Department headquarters to meet with first responders.
I just got back from the hospital. A young woman was shot 4 bullets, 2 in her lungs, and they got her over to the hospital in less than 21 minutes. She had no chance, and between the first responders, your people who got her, you know who I'm talking about, they got her there, Scott. What a job you've done. I hope you're getting the credit for it, because believe me, you deserve it. The job you've done is unparalleled.
I'm giving them all raises.
Give them a raise. Get everybody else.
Well, the president is spending the rest of the holiday weekend at his resort.
And as those victims recover, we're learning stunning new details about the warning signs, and there were many, including racist online rants and a tip weeks ago that could have prevented the carnage. More on that ahead.
As long as there is fear, as long as there is curiosity, as long as there are undiscovered corners of the earth, and as long as there is willingness and desire, then you are capable of more. This President's Day, lease a 2018 BMW X3 xDrive 30i for $499 per month.
Remember our special night? Abdominal pain and diarrhea. Oh, it's my anniversary. Aw, sorry. We've got other plans.
Your recurring unpredictable abdominal pain and diarrhea may be irritable bowel syndrome with diarrhea, or IBS-D. You've tried over-the-counter treatments and lifestyle changes, but IBS-D can be really frustrating. Talk to your doctor about Viberzi, a different way to treat IBS-D. Viberzi is a prescription medication you take every day that helps proactively manage both abdominal pain and diarrhea at the same time, so you stay ahead of your symptoms. Viberzi can cause new or worsening abdominal pain. Do not take Viberzi if you have no gallbladder, have pancreas or severe liver problems with alcohol abuse, long-lasting or severe constipation, or a bowel or gallbladder blockage. Pancreatitis may occur and can lead to hospitalization and death. If you are taking Viberzi, you should not take medicines that cause constipation. The most common side effects of Viberzi include constipation, nausea, and abdominal pain. Stay ahead of IBS-D with Viberzi.
This is the story of Green Mountain Coffee Roasters Dark Magic, told in the time it takes to brew your cup. First, we head to Vermont and go to our coffee shop and meet Dave. Hey. Why is Dark Magic so spellbindingly good, he asks? Let me show you. Let's go. So we climb, hike, see a bear. Whoa. Reach the top. Dave says Dark Magic is a bold blend of coffee with rich flavors of Uganda, Sumatra, Colombia, and other parts of South America. Like these mountains, each amazing on their own, but together, magical. All for a smoother tasting cup of coffee. Green Mountain Coffee Roasters, packed with goodness.
It's time for the ultimate Sleep Number event on the only bed that adjusts on both sides to your ideal comfort, your Sleep Number setting. Does your bed do that? Save 50% on the ultimate limited edition bed, plus 24-month financing. Ends Monday. Visit sleepnumber.com for a store near you.
What can a president do in 30 seconds? He can fire an FBI director who won't pledge his